What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the insideLINES podcast. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson.
And I am Tia Avril.
Coming up a bit later in the show, we'll be chatting with founder and creative director of School Sense Candle Company, Tiffany Rose. But before we get into all of that, Tia, how was your Thanksgiving holiday?
You know, actually, you will be very proud of me.
Okay.
So when we are in town, we usually do Thanksgiving with the D coordinator's family,
Right.
And his wife, Tanisha, and her mom, kill it. So I don't have to worry about anything but drinks, okay? And I go grocery shopping with her. But this year, because the Seahawks played on Thanksgiving, they're doing Thanksgiving on Friday, tomorrow, today, whatever. And so I did a little mini Thanksgiving situation for my family so that we could eat before we went to the game. So I was so organized. Listen to her, girl. The girl was so organized. I prepped a little bit on Tuesday, did a lot of prep on Wednesday. Do you know we ate by 11:30 on Thanksgiving?
I am so proud.
Listen,
I am so proud.
I was proud of myself.
Tell me your spread.
It was a small spread. So actually, Cliff fried fish yesterday. That's the one thing he will do on a holiday. He will fry some fish. But I did mac and cheese. I did seafood dressing. I did cabbage, cornbread, pudding, and cornbread. But look at me.
At you, Tia. You growing on up, girl. I'm a proud sis.
I was so proud of myself because I did. Number one, I got up and worked out Thanksgiving morning first. And then when I got back, I finished up my last little bit, put the stuff in the oven. We literally ate at 11:30.
I'm telling you, prep is the key. Prepping is the key. You have to plan ahead. It'll be chaos if you don't prep.
It is. And if you do a little bit each day, then it don't feel so overwhelming because everything takes me a long time anyway. So I chopped on Tuesday, mixed on Wednesday, put in the oven Thursday morning. So I was just so proud of myself.
You should be. Look at God.
Look at him. And then we went to the game and that was a disaster because, boy, I knew San Francisco was going to run it, but I didn't know they was going to run it that hard.
Hey, they gave them a gobble Thanksgiving, didn't they?
They did. But I will say the Seattle little light situation, they had the pyro and the whatever to intro the players, and then Steve Aoki did halftime. I was proud of Seattle. I said they put y'all on the national stage and y'all showed up in terms
That's
of
what's up.
Entertainment. But anyway, how was Thanksgiving for you?
It was great. Thanksgiving was great. I think I talked about it before. My in-laws are in town. They came last week to watch. Well, they came 2 Fridays ago to watch Nehimiah play, but he hurt his ankle, so he could not play. And then this past Friday, they won. Nehemiah played in that one, so they got to see him play. And now they're in the state championship. So they stayed through Thanksgiving, and then they're going to watch him play in the state championship. So I've just been soaking in the in-laws, enjoying them. My girlfriend Candace from high school, she lives out here on the East Coast now. She came over. So when I say we was cooking and just giggling and drinking and have a good old time, girl, we had so much fun with all the prep, and then the dinner spread was phenomenal. It was great. I enjoy the holidays. You know how I feel. So
yeah, we had to have. We had to have Justin put a little picture in picture because your table setup was so pretty as always.
I love it. It has to have the ambiance. You got to set the stage, y'all. So
it was super cute.
Thank you. It was fun. Good times. Really good times.
So when does Nehemiah play in state?
So by the time this airs, he will have already played. But it's on Sunday, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So it's a big game. And when I say, because he won't know because it's going to come out afterwards, when I say I went all out. So
did you?
Yeah. So I'm just say this because a lot of people don't know. My son, who's in college, Nate, his last game is Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I'm flying him in on a red eye, and he'll be in and surprise his brother on Sunday. Not only that, but his father, who always works on Sundays for NFL Today, he's going in for work. But their show the pre-show that comes on right before the games from 12 to 1. He's doing that, and then he's jumping in the car, so he's coming. So Nehemiah's going to be surprised.
Oh, he think they're going to both miss it.
Yeah. And then to top it off, you remember Alyssa McKenzie? She was on our podcast. She has the Glamorly List Designs.
Yep.
I reached out to her and was like, can you make some just simple black beanies with 13 on the front and Burleson on the back? So I ordered like a dozen of those.
Oh,
and then finally I got some fat heads ordered and a big defense sign, the D in the fence. When I say I'm going all out for my baby's last game of high school, this is it. I'm bringing it.
This is crazy. So, this is literally your last hurrah.
Yeah, so he's going to feel loved. That's football. For sure. I know. Yeah. So
he going to see little Nate and pass out.
Girl, it's going to be a lot of emotion. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do all this emotion in one time. He'll be like, what the heck is going on? But
overload.
Yeah, but I just think that he needs to be showered because he's the baby boy, and he's always been behind the shadow of his brother. And this is it for him for high school sports. And I just was like, I'm going, my baby ain't gonna ever in his life forget this day.
Yeah. And you know what he's good. Like he just played it back. He don't cause no trouble. He be chill. He don't, you know. Mm-hmm. So it'll be nice. I think everybody, even the super chill, introverted ones, love to be celebrated. So
for sure. He's gonna love it all. He's gonna love it. Okay, y'all. So we'll keep y'all updated. I'll give y'all the update later, but hopefully we get that W. So the last time we played at Rutgers, we played in the basketball championship last year and won at state. They won their state championship at Rutgers. So now they're playing at Rutgers for football. So let's go 2 for 2. Let's do this back to back.
That's right. Good luck, Nehimiah.
All right, so let's get into our women in sports segment. We're going to transition a little bit. And this week we're talking about Sha'carri Richardson.
Yes. Sha'carri, listen, y'all, when I say that is a young lady who has been celebrated here a lot lately, much needed. So she won the 2023 Jackier Joyner Percy Athlete of the Year, which is amazing. But she also had a day named after her. Y'all, Dallas, her hometown city, named November 10th Sha'carri Richardson Day. And they also announced that they named a track after her. So
that's so dope.
It is the track is called Sha'carri Richardson Track at John Kincade Stadium, which y'all know John Kincade has some memories like in the track and field world. Absolutely. So I want to celebrate her.
Yeah, those names mean the world to me. I actually met Jackier Joyner Percy when I was younger, when I ran track, and I know all that she stands for, and I know Sha'carri does too. So to have that honor, I'm sure to her means the world and well-deserved because she's been through it. So I'm so excited for her.
Absolutely. So she is prepping for Paris 2024. So y'all make sure y'all keep y'all finger on the pulse for this young lady because she didn't get to show up to the last Olympics, but baby girl is going to show up. So
and I'm pulling up too. I am pulling up.
I know that's right.
And lastly, y'all, don't forget we still have our Inside Lines season 5 t-shirts. So go out. It's the holiday season. Get some shirts for people. Represent by our Inside Lines t-shirts. And represent as we lead into Super Bowl coming up.
Yes. Y'all stay tuned. We got some exciting news to announce, and we cannot wait to share it with y'all.
I know. And don't forget to head to our link in our bio on Instagram or check it out on the website. All right, and let's get into our conversation with Tiffany Rose. On the show today, we have an inspirational woman who is the founder and creative director of School Sense Candle Company. She began her career in corporate America as a marketing and media executive. She graduated with a Bachelor's of Arts in social work from North Carolina A&T State University. She ran an event planning business called Extraordinary Settings, and she is a devoted wife and mother of her 2 teenagers and co-founders, Marley and her son, Miles. Please welcome to the show, Tiffany Rose. Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you ladies doing?
We are good. We are so excited to have you on. It's that season now. Like we're in the season of holiday cheer. We are in the season of people looking for gifts, setting the tone wherever you are, with whoever's hosting. Let's talk about why you started School Sense Candle Company and the journey that led you to become this founder and creative director.
Okay. You want the PC version?
I want the real of the real.
Yes.
I started the company because, of course, during COVID, all of us were at home just kind of grappling, trying to figure it out. And every Friday, I was crafting cocktails and flowers. Every single Friday. At that time, my husband didn't even drink ever. And the kids were playing their video games because everything had stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like it was for somebody else, but I was like, okay, we have to do something here. And literally because we burn candles every day. As a child, my mother has burned candles every day. And I just was like, I always wanted to learn how to make candles, but not to sell, just for myself.
Yeah.
Ordered a kit. Simple as that. And with that kit, me and my daughter Marley had so much fun that I decided, okay, well, maybe, let's order some more. I found myself ordering 5 pounds of wax, 10 pounds of wax. And even I had ordered like 45 pounds of wax, that Amazon. Actually, that wasn't Amazon then, but the beginning was Amazon. I ordered a whole bunch of wax and a whole bunch of fragrance oils because then I had started doing a little bit of research as I was buying more and more wax. And I was like, you know what? Let's send this out to family.
This is still for home use at first. Like when you hit that 45 pounds. Okay.
I'm literally like, we testing. We're sitting there, a different sense. I ordered so much. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we should see what we can do. So I ended up sending out over 150 testers to family and friends all over the U.S. And the response was so well received. It was like, how do we support?
Yeah.
Now, prior to that, I told my husband, I was like, maybe we can try to see if we can do this as a business, but I don't know. He was like, well, just test it out. And, we came up with a name. And he was the one who came up with School Sense. I was like, that's so stupid. Why are we naming School Sense? Why, And I kept trying to play with the name and everything else. And it wasn't clicking. And then it clicked. It was like it needed to resonate with people. Everybody's been to school. And it was more so for marketing.
Yeah.
When everybody got their candles, they were like, we love them. How do we support? And I remember telling him, I was like, people want to buy these. I was like, family for the most part. And I remember he's like, well, before you do that, make sure you have enough on these shelves to start a business. He was like, because
were you still working as an event planner? Just you were on pause for?
I was on pause.
COVID,
because of our life, we've moved so much. I could no longer be an event planner how I wanted to be because every city that we moved to, I had to restart.
Were you moving for your husband's work? Okay.
Yep. And every time it was a stop and start. Let's build it. I had to get to know people. And I got tired of that. And so at this point, when I started this business, I was basically the CEO of the household. That was it. I was momager. Managing everything that moves, So I needed something. I didn't realize I needed something.
Yeah.
And you were like very focused as far as you wanted to create clean scents. Like you wanted to create scents that resonated with people. Why was that so important to you?
Well, during the process of me learning about the business, I engulfed myself in clean, what it took to make candles. And you start to learn about the different waxes, and paraffin wax is used in a lot of candles, especially some of the bigger brands. And they use it because you can once you extract gas out of something, because paraffin wax is actually petroleum fuel.
Right.
So once you extract the scent of gas out, it takes on whatever scent you use for it. So you think about some of the bigger brands that have some scents that smell really, really good, but they give you a headache. That's why. Because it's actually petroleum fuel that you're burning in your household. Yes, they will give you a really nice scent, but at the same time, there's other issues that it causes.
Yeah.
Now, there are other...
Is that the wax that leaves like that black soot sometimes?
Yes.
Now, granted, if you're burning a candle, there's always going to be a little soot, but it reduces it when you use premium wax, when you use the right actual wicks for your candles, and then your fragrance oils. So some people think, okay, I want to burn essential oils, but they're not meant to be burned. They're meant to be diffused through the air.
Okay, so you guys started to realize with the demand from family and friends that, we could actually start selling this. So can you talk about just that process and that build up to even saying like, I'm going to do this with my kids?
So it took me about 2 months to kind of just really research everything I needed to research, starting with the website, starting with the name, getting it registered, things of that nature. But what happened during that process, I was like, okay, January 25th. I said, I literally was like, I'm just going to put a post out on my Instagram, on my personal Instagram. And it's not like I have a whole bunch of followers because I have a public profile, but I'm pretty much a private person in a sense. I'm a little bit more reserved. I won't say private. I'm a lot more reserved. And I put out a scared post. It was a long post, but it was just, we have this company. It's called School Sense. And let me backtrack for a few minutes. I started also because managing my children, one of my daughters has ADHD. And we knew that some of the scents played a role in how they made her feel. And so that was one of the things that I had put in my post about we'd done this company, we had created this company, and we wanted it to be where it was clean scents, how it made you feel, and that we were doing it as a family. But I didn't want them to support it just because they were cute kids. I wanted them to support it because we had a great product.
Right.
And in that first week that we launched January 25th, 2021. In that first week, I think we sold out of 3 fragrances 3 times. And we were only selling travel tins at the moment. So we had 2 sizes in travel tins. After people started getting those, they were like, we want bigger. And I knew we were going to go bigger just because of the type of friends and the type of clientele that we now have. I knew that was going to happen, but I just didn't know what to expect, with trying to build the company. I mean, still to this day, it's like I'm flying by the seat of my pants sometimes. But in all honesty, I didn't know how it was going to go that first week. And it sold. And then we only had 6 cents. I mean, we're now at 18 cents almost 3 years later. But it sold well. And then we introduced a bigger container 3 weeks later. And it's all due to
3
the
weeks
fact
after
that,
the original launch, the initial launch?
Yes. The initial launch was January 25th. 3 weeks later, this was way before because I wasn't thinking about launching the larger ones, the 13.5 ounces, until like maybe 2 or 3 months down the line. We had to bring them in 3 weeks later because a travel tank can only go so far. And honestly, I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning.
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out.
I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, most days I'm still trying to figure it out, but I've learned a couple of things along the way. But that's how I run. I mean, if you want to be perfectly honest, that's how I run it. And through the grace of God and through the grace of the fact that we do have a good product,
a great product,
people support. And I hear a lot of people say, my friends don't support me. I don't have that issue.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Thank God. I think about you, and I think about because if y'all don't know, I'm a School Sense. I'll be listen here. The holidays, birthday gifts, you name it. I'm calling Tiffany like I want some School Sense candles because, to your point, the smell is. There's 2 things that I've learned about candles. It's the fragrance, but it's also the burn. Not everybody's burn is the same, and yours is amazing. But you also took it a step further than just making candles. Talk about event planning. And your idea of sipping scents, because I feel like they do go hand in hand.
They do. So my background, of course, so for 15 years, I did run an event planning company. And because we moved so much, I wanted to take everything that I had done, even corporate, because I worked in TV before then, media buyer, all those different things. But I worked for Travel Channel also. I took all of my experiences from those jobs that were dream jobs for somebody else. And I took them and put them to this business. And so we started doing something called Sip and Sense. And it's basically candle making experiences. And I'm not doing anything a lot of other candle makers are not doing, but it's the love that I have in what I'm doing and the fun that I want, because I want it to be an experience. I mean, we talk about great things, but it's basically a Sip and Sense. You sip cocktails and you get to create your own scent. And I walk you through making it through a candle. But through that, it's conversation. It's connection. Yeah. It's the feel that you have when you're in the same space with like-minded people. And it's not just women, because men actually love it. And we do it with kids too. And, you delve into their minds as well. And you talk and you chat. And it's supposed to be that. That's how I'm building the brand. To not just be candles. It's community.
An experience.
It's an experience, yes.
Yeah, and I enjoy even just the idea of sipping and making candles, because in general, it's like whenever we think about getting together with girlfriends or whatever, it's always like going out to eat.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like there's only so many new restaurants you can try. You know what I'm saying? And for people that's always trying to lose weight, i.e. me, I'm tired of eating all the time. I would much rather drink the calories, okay? Because I know how to burn those. I know how to burn drinking calories. But to your point, like I do think there's something with an activity, like a physical activity of you really, let me hone in of how I want to feel and how I want my space to smell and all the things, and what that sparks just in terms of conversations. You find yourself having conversations you never would have had with, you know what I mean, with your friends or whatever.
It's so funny because when I did one candle making party, it was actually one of my first big ones. I flew to Charlotte and I did it with Bank of America, a couple of corporate folks over there. And all of the women were like, oh, we'll just do the candles for our partners and their husbands. And the men were like, no, we want to make our own candles. The conversation at the table and the men, because I don't cap you on how many cents. A lot of places will cap you. They'll be like, oh, you can have a maximum of 3 cents. No, have at it.
Yeah.
Create, because I want this to be your scent. It's your scent. And I want it to be, every time you burn it, it's something I made. So it's personal. But the men were coming up with names, and I don't know if I can say this, they were like Panty Dropper. And
let's go.
Come on. Look, they say I'm trying to set the mood, okay?
One lady was like Purr. She was like, because I'm newly divorced and I date young men, and I'm like Purr. And I know, right? Yeah, and it was a bunch of bad bees. And so, and we're talking about executives, corporate space, C-suite, and I love that because it's a safe space. When you come when I come into your space and we have these conversations, they're grown. But people will talk, especially, and the more people drink, the more they talk. And it's not like they're getting drunk, but they're having a good time. And that's relaxing. The part that I'm able to come in and not just show you how to make a candle, but let's make a connection.
That's good.
I love that. Okay, so I want you to rewind, because we're talking School of Sense, right? Let's teach our listeners about the candle and because you mentioned the burn matters and things like that. I don't know. Okay. I don't know what that means when you say, oh, the burn can do this, that, and a third. Tell us about your candle and why you chose the wax you chose, the wick you chose, things like that.
So we started out with using 100% soy wax, which is a great wax to use. It's soybeans, U.S. grown. But we used that for 2 years, and I still use it for the candle making. The reason I use that one, because it is such a clean burn. As we started to get picked up on shelves, we realized that the aesthetics of it doesn't always look good after it's sat on the shelves for a long time. So maybe like a year. If you've ever seen a candle and it's frosted on top, like it has a little white cast on it, usually that's 100% soy wax candle, and nothing's wrong with it. Still will burn. Everything still will smell really good. But it's an aesthetic issue. And basically what it is that the actual soybeans, the soy wax is trying to go back to its natural state. So it's crystallizes on top.
Okay.
That's one. Paraffin wax there's 2 types. There's a food grade paraffin, and then there's a regular paraffin that's extracted from petroleum fuel. That's what a lot of candle makers use, big candle brands. And it's for 2 reasons. One, because it's inexpensive. And the second reason is because it gives off a very good scent throw.
Right.
Okay.
So when you smell one that smells, they give off that really great scent. And, it's because it's usually from petroleum fuel. Now, what we use now is a coconut soy wax. It does have a minimum amount of paraffin in it, but it's the food grade paraffin. So it's like the wax on your apples.
Right.
And because I work with my children, I knew that I wanted as natural as possible as I can. But once you add an oil to it, it's no longer 100% natural. I mean, so when you see everybody has some type of way to try to give you some type of gimmick to, rear you in. Yeah, it's clean. It's clean burning. And our candles do still burn clean. But the wicks that we use are 100% cotton. Okay. So those are all natural. And then we use wood wicks for the crackling. So those are for specific candles because we use these huge bowls and they have 5 burning wicks in it. So those are FCS used wicks that are cut, and they are only one company has a patent for them.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. It's a company that we use out of California, and they're very, very expensive. But, that's why we don't have a $15 candle.
Yeah.
I said we may try to make sure we use all premium products so that we can give you a good candle. I mean, especially with the type of people that we have as clients, we want to make sure that we are a household name. We're trying to get to that moment where we're a household name, so we want to be able to compete with the ones that are out there that you've been using for so long.
Yeah.
Was there a specific clientele? Because I think about, when you said you first started, you explaining like which waxes work better, why you use certain wicks. Was there, and then you had to decide what you wanted to put the wax in. Was there a strategic way of deciding that? Did you let your clients tell you what they loved? Because, some people might like the matte black, candle holder. Some people might like something that's more glazed or has like a metallic color to it. How did you decide what to use for your bases to hold the candle wax in?
It was partly on preference, and I did ask a few people because I was thinking maybe we go with, it was in between whether we go with the matte black or whether we go with the shiny black. And I like anything matte.
I know, right?
That was a personal preference. And then I love black. And so right now I'm still torn with, adding these other colors because we did have other colors in the beginning. I was like, no, let's stay with black.
Yeah.
And I've asked a few people, and every time they come back to it, we love the matte black. It's the touch, it's the feel. And is there any other color that's better than black?
Right. It's always classy.
It's
the
sleek.
matte black is
It's
luxe,
chic.
right?
It gives you that feel of something that's just, it's beautiful.
It is.
In a sense, And
So
it
how
fits
did
in
you-
any space. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it does. No, you're good. The how did you decide on the scent combinations? What was that process like with you and your tweens?
So we sat down as a family, and then our extended family gets into it. In the beginning, everybody wanted to get into the process.
Everybody wanted to weigh in.
And because I told you my daughter has ADHD, her mom does too. I'm undiagnosed, but I'm telling you, I will buy every single scent. If you saw how many scents I have in this hotel or Atoya, it's a lot of scents.
It's a lot.
But the thing is, I love stuff that smells good, and I will sit for hours. This is my happy space.
Yeah.
I will sit in there and I will create something. I'll blend scents, and then I'll ask my son, who I go to for a lot of the name, and then I'll go to my husband, and we'll talk about what we think in the line of school as a reference that we think this scent should be placed.
Yeah.
So when you think about snooze button, most people, they hit it, but the scents in there are Cintron and Mandarin, which are supposed to wake you up.
Yes.
So it's kind of a play on words as well.
Yes. Okay.
Name your
I
top
love
5
that.
scents. Tell us your top 5, the names of those candles.
So snooze button, that's Cintron and Mandarin. Power to the paper. It has black currant, black tea. It's a good unisex. It's sexy. It's moody. Spring break. It's our take on what you smell when you walk into a 5-star hotel. So that's why we name it Spring Break, because when you go on spring break,
When you go on spring break,
you're in a
you're staying in
hotel.
a
I don't know if you're in a
5-star
five-star
hotel.
hotel, but in my mind, I'm in a 5-star hotel. New student, because it's crisp. I have 2 that are like neck and neck. Star Athlete and Letterman Jacket. Both are manly, and we do really well. Actually, we do really well with those among women because Star Athlete smells like a good smelling man. So it's like that scent lingers. And then Letterman Jacket has that oud in it.
I love these names.
It's it's very strategic. And to your point, when you burn them, it's literally the name coincides with what you smell. That's what I love about it. It's actually, the take on words actually really does coincide with the smell of the candle, which I like. Okay, so you talked about your kids being a part of this. You talked about, going to your husband for words, like, let's come up with a name for this. Let's go to the other side. You think about being a mom, being a supportive wife, doing all of those things while navigating this entrepreneurial world. You're moving around and you're moving and shaking a lot. How is that world? Tell us the real, because I often think women, we have guilt and we feel bad and we want to do all of these things that we can't really do all at the same time. It's just not realistic. Talk about that journey for you.
Oh, stuff fall through the cracks.
And it's
SHIT falls through the cracks. In the beginning, I think it was difficult for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I do everything.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's the hardest part, is that mom's not available. Tiff's not available. I can't pick him up. Can you pick him? All these different things, because for a long time I was, like I said, just at home. Managing the household. It's a lot. Right. Most people, they play that down as far as being a stay-at-home mom. It's a lot of work.
A lot.
And, when you figure you're still doing those roles, but then now you have this business and trying to meet the demands of the business, but also be exactly everything to everybody. Oh, something fall through the cracks. Somebody gets ignored for a good bit, but then you get back to it. Now I'm starting to make sure that I give a little time to everything, and I have to have a hard stop. Because what I realized is that when I was creating this new baby, I was becoming addicted to it, in a sense is that I need to keep doing it. I need to, I want to, make sure I get that deadline in. I want to make sure I get these people's candles to them. I want to make sure. So I have a hard stop now, and, I'll get to that tomorrow. I'll finish that tomorrow. But I also have to make sure and be intentional with making sure my kids know that I'm there. I'm going to be there. If I can make it, I'm going to be there. But somebody's going to be there.
Yeah.
That's a great tip for women who are trying to figure out how to balance it all, right? And it's interesting that men in the same position, they don't feel guilty. They like, well, I gotta provide, I gotta whatever. They don't have that guilt feeling that us women have, but using something like time blocking or hard stopping of okay, I'm gonna dedicate this time to my kids, but and I love them and we're gonna do the things, but I'm gonna work on this, and I'm just figuring out how to balance that is worthwhile. That was a great tip. How is the relationship working on the company with your family?
It's good most days.
Okay.
My daughter, who is the one that does most of the work, I have allowed her to kind of make her own schedule now. So she no longer makes, because now that we're no longer in the dead set of COVID, her activities have picked back up. So I have to make sure that I allow her to be a teenager. So she does a lot of the pop-ups with me, though. So before, she was doing roughly about 80% of the pop-ups. Now she's doing more about 60% of the pop-ups. She picks and chooses the good places, the good locations.
Of course, she's smart.
The ones where she knows, she knows anywhere in New York City she's going, So if we go somewhere to a museum and we have something, she's going. But my son, he doesn't pour, and I don't want him to, because I realized he was wasting more product than he was putting it into the vessels. But he does have his jobs. When I pull this car out in this house, he unloads. He makes sure he puts everything in the car to be packed up. He's the one that sanitizes most of the vessels. He puts the wicks in. So he does his part, and he actually does a lot of the naming. Of a lot of, so I sit down with him and we go through what we think certain scents should be. So,
we've had professional wives of professional NFL players. We've had wife of professional baseball player. But fun fact, you are our first NBA wife. And it's a fun fact for two reasons. Because A, I don't think people knew that you are the wife of Dun, dun, dun. Malik Rose, who played 13 years in the NBA. But also you did this so graciously, manage your family. Like you said, you're just like, I'm just reserved. I'm laid back. I move. I go with the flow. People don't even know that you are this amazing wife, supportive wife while doing what you do. So first of all, thank you for being our first NBA wife.
Thank you.
And I will say, I didn't know that.
13
I didn't know
years.
that.
13 years.
I know that's right.
And,
Listen, the journey.
Second, the fact that you still pursued your own dreams and goals throughout this is so admirable. Share with us how it was. Okay, we got to talk about we already know about the contracts and, NBA versus NFL, but share with us your journey as an NBA wife and what that looked like for you.
The journey was really good. I mean, you do these things, you try to, you live this great life. But I've always been that person that wanted to be more so on the back end. I never wanted to. I shy away from the camera most times. Even with like doing these, I'm just now starting to do the podcast. But when we started this business, it was just like, I've always set it up where they kind of didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of NBA wives. The younger ones that support me, they don't know.
Wow.
They don't know.
I didn't realize that, Tiffany.
That's just how I've lived my life.
So to this day, they're buying your candles and they don't know. Wow.
It's so funny. I met a girl. I was at a Knicks game last Friday. And this young girl, because I'm of a certain age. That's another thing, too, because of the fact that I am of a certain age. And I'm like, I had kids older in life. And, when you meet these girls and you're like, damn, I want to be their mama. That's how I feel. And so there's nothing that I can really relate except the fact that we are NBA wives, you know? So I try to keep that background. I'm not trying to tell you nothing or show you nothing or anything unless you ask me. I'm not going to give you unsolicited advice. But when you meet them and they support you, I'm like, thank you.
You don't even know you support me and we sisters.
Yeah. But you know what? You can relate to them because I'll say, in general, I think significant others of professional athletes, you kind of, and I don't know who it's coming from, but you kind of feel like you got to pause everything that you have going on to support them, right? And relocate and restart and do all these things. But what is very important for people to see is that even though you were relocating and shit was hard and whatever, you kept finding your thing, right? Like you were event planning and you know what I mean? Like that's very admirable. And I think it's important for especially these younger girls to see that like you can still do your thing and you can still pour into yourself and support your significant other.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you need that for your mental.
Talk about it.
The thing is that when you think about it, they have these beautiful lives that they get to go on and they get to travel and they be in these beautiful hotels and we're at home with kids, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, honestly, you're like, I'm at home and I got to do all these things and you get to
a little bit resentful.
Not have to worry. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Must be nice.
You get to not have to worry about it in a sense. Huh? It must be nice, right? Must be nice. I mean, and it's not like you're not grateful. So it's not even coming from that type of place because we do have great lives, right?
Yeah.
But it's, I'm still responsible. I'm still here with these kids and I don't have a lot of people that's trailing behind me. It's me. And so, when you get to a certain point and you get everybody to where they're supposed to be, it's like you do need a piece for yourself. You do need to have, a sense of self and not be so wrapped up in somebody else that you can't move on your own accord.
That's good.
So, I've always lived my life where I didn't, well, not always, but the older I get, that's what I do realize is that you can build them up to be whatever they want to be and to move exactly how they want to. Their life is cushioned. I mean, let's be real. Their life is cushioned. And so where do I fit into that part? I can't live my life on someone else's coattails, but I want to build something for myself regardless of how it looks or how my life looks.
Yeah.
That's beautifully said. Is there like a lesson or an insight that you can share as far as what shaped your approach to entrepreneurship? What is something that you could share with someone else that might be thinking, I really want to do this. There's this business I've had. I don't know where to start. I don't really know how to navigate it. What would you share with them that you think would be beneficial for them to know?
You're going to always be scared. The scariest thing is to start. That was the one thing I dealt with because I'm a little bit more reserved. Like, I'm a girl's girl. Like, I can come out with you. We can have drinks all day long. I can do all that. I can pump you up. But when it comes to myself, I do operate in a lot of fear of just putting myself out there. And that was the hardest part. Even to this day, when I talk about posting and stuff, I hate that stuff. I hate having to do that part. Because I do have to give you a little bit more of me and a little bit a piece of me. I can do that with my close girlfriends. I can do that when I sit in my space because I'm one of those people that I like that engagement. But to do it for the world to see is a different story. So my advice to someone or my small take to someone is do it scared. There's never going to be a right time to start that business. There's never going to be a right way to start it. People can give you 15 million seminars on what they did, but that's what worked for them.
Not for you. You don't understand how on time the message is, right? Because you know it. I literally just had this conversation with my husband last night about how I always operate out of fear and move out of fear, right? And sometimes when it comes to my stuff, I do get paralyzed by like, well, I don't think people gonna like it. I don't like how I look on this. I don't want to put myself out here. So you are speaking to the choir. Thank you for that.
I'm telling you, that's how it's a daily struggle with every single piece of this. But through that fear comes a little bit of confidence, knowing that, especially if people continuously come back.
Yeah.
Doing something
someone
right.
said validation.
I have a lot of people that are just one-offs. Don't get me wrong, but I have a core group that just keep coming back and they keep validating what sometimes in the back of my mind, like, why am I doing this? And I never want to say it's an imposter syndrome because I try not to look at what other candle makers are doing. I follow some, but if I'm going to take something that they're doing, it's not to emulate them. It's just to make it better for me
learn.
in a sense.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so you can take ideas. So please believe me, there are no new ideas. None. It's what you take from someone else and enhance it.
That's good.
Well, let's talk about that because I do. I think, of course, like the candle industry is large, and you've. No, I wouldn't even say it's oversaturated, right? Like I feel like. I think we say that sometimes, but it's like you could still go into this space that got 50, 60, 70,000 different brands and make your mark, right? Yeah. How did you find your place amongst them all and even get like the opportunities and stuff like you had to do the partnerships with Pottery Barn and all the other places?
It was the ask. I mean, literally, I saw something on someone else's page that they were actually took a picture of someone else in a Pottery Barn and like in the Midwest. And I went to Pottery Barn and I asked them, did they do pop-ups? And the girl was like, no, we used to, but we haven't started back. She said, you know what? Go to West Elm. I went that day because it was right down the street from my house. And I went, and it just so happens, I was like, do I just walk up in there and ask them, do they do pop-ups? So I act like I was looking for a bed at first. And
that's what I'm here for.
I need a bed. And this lady, I asked her, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, do you guys do pop-ups? And she said, yes. I said, who do I need to talk to? And she said, me.
Ooh, come on, God.
Divine intervention. Because that one lady has helped me get into other ones at West Elm. So literally, when we started the West Elm project, I've been working with them for probably a little over 2 years now in 5 of their stores. And I had to cut it down because they were inviting us back so much. And it's been a blessing to be able to do that because West Elm came, and then Pottery Barn Kids came, and then I did the same thing with Madewell. Went in, and I always started to have product on me. I'm like, I'm gonna give somebody something because they're gonna let me get in this pop up.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing with Madewell, and because I operate in my authentic self, like I'm gonna come in, I'm laughing, I'm whatever. I'm me.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's no other way to look at it. I'm me, and so I bring myself and I talk and I chat and, I try to get things done that way. And I'll say, hey, do you do pop-ups? And if they do you mind if I do a pop-up? Well, from those conversations they recommend me to another store. And then they recommend that store recommends me to another store. And that's it's been, and that's how it's been for us. I mean, we started with one Madewell, and I think we've done like 4 or 5 of them throughout New Jersey and New York. And then they recommended us to the men's store. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So tell us, I already mentioned it's the holidays. Tell us about what's some exciting projects that School Sense Candle Company has planned, like a sneak peek of what's coming up so people can find you. We obviously you have your website, but if there's people right here in the New York, New Jersey area that want to find School Sense Candle Company, where would they go?
So the next couple of weeks, of course, we'll be doing our West Elm pop-up tours. We're at West Elm Paramus on this Friday and Saturday. I don't know what day of the month it is, but November, I'm saying in process. I don't even know what the day of the month today
November
is.
24th and 25th.
So Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Small Business Saturday. We're at West Elm Paramus. On Sunday, we are at something called the Holiday Bazaar at Whitechapel, which is in Asbury Park, New Jersey. It's on the beach. So the beach is at Asbury Park. And then the next couple of weeks, we are West Elms in the city, New York City, Madewell, New York City. And then we're taking a break the month of January, but our website is always open.
Okay. And then as far as your website, Tiffany, do you have those dates on there? So if people can they look and see where to find you, where you are next, if they want to pop up?
Yep.
And say, hey girl, I heard about you.
I want you guys to come and pop up. I hope there are millions of people watching right now.
Can come on.
Or when everything comes to being live, I hope that not only are they watching to make sure that this podcast gets the recognition that it needs and deserves, but also to come and support for both ends.
Absolutely. Well, I done added a few cents to my cart as we were talking. I'm like, oh, okay, recess. Okay, boom. She said locker room. Okay, I got her. So absolutely. I'll be sure to put links to your website and stuff in our show notes so everyone knows where to go as well.
Okay, so we're going to play a fun game. You ready for the 2-minute drill, Tiffany?
Oh,
It's this or that, so you answer one or the other, or it's a fill in the blank. Okay. Real easy but fun, and it's just rapid fires, real quick. Okay, you got this.
Okay,
all right. Whenever you're ready.
Whatever come to mind first. Okay, hold on. Okay, starting now.
What's the inspiration behind School Sense?
My kids.
What is your go-to topic for small talk?
Nail color.
Nail color.
For a man, it's cologne.
Cologne. Okay.
Okay. What makes you feel overwhelmed?
Having to speak in front of people.
Look at you. Look, you done broke that barrier. Done.
What brings you the most joy?
Oh, my family.
Yeah.
Girl time. Family.
Phone in the bathroom or no phone in the bathroom?
Phone in the bathroom to scroll.
Most important lesson you've learned this year?
Stay outside my head.
Would you rather be embarrassed or be afraid?
Afraid.
Most difficult thing you've ever apologized for?
My tongue.
Your tongue?
My mouth.
Listen.
Are you proud of yourself?
I am. I am learning to be proud of myself.
That's good.
Okay, last question. What is next for Tiffany?
Business-wise or personal?
Either, whatever come to mind, whatever came first.
So there is this goal I have. I do want a brick and mortar, but a small brick and mortar, but I want a community space. And the community space is large, a huge undertaking, but I want it to be where it's all things school related as far as School Sense is concerned. It's a community space. It's a candle making space. So it's the lab at School Sense.
I love that. Y'all are like jazzy with the names, okay? I like that.
And there's the coffee and cocktails, which is, it'll be the teacher's lounge. And it'll be, community space. It'll be
you
where I
teachers
want
don't be
people to
having no
come.
cocktails in that lounge, though, in real life. But go ahead, Tiffany, go ahead.
But they can come and purchase those T-shirts that say, I cuss at your kids.
Baby, wait, you sell those?
Not yet, but it's coming. Yep.
It's
coming.
Listen.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff coming.
Okay, you got to send us the link. You got to, when that comes out, you got to send it to me.
Yeah.
You guys to send it to me.
So it's a lot that I'm trying to do. Of course, New York and New Jersey area is just so expensive, but it's coming. Now, I don't know what city, but it's coming, and it's coming soon.
I believe it. I believe it. Speak it into existence. Okay, before you go, there's one more thing I need to ask you. Is there a motto or a quote that inspires you that you'd like to share with our listeners?
A motto or a quote?
Yeah, something that you heard and you're like, ooh. I feel like that, I'm a teacher, but I cuss at your kids. It's a great motto or quote. So we could just leave it right there.
And actually, I came up with that myself. I cuss at your kids in my head. But my mother, who I love to pieces, and it always rings in my head, is that after 3 days, fish and food start to stink. And so, literally, when I go somewhere, and I know that doesn't sound like, that doesn't sound good, but when I go
owning something, though.
when I go somewhere and I stay longer than 2 or 3 days, I'm like, it's time to go. Or even with somebody's at my house for longer than that, I'm like, they got to go.
Listen.
After 3 days, fish and food start to stink.
Time to go. Bye. It was real. And that's all I got. Your mom's right for many reasons because that's all you got. Sometimes you can't host forever. I think Tia asked me on one of the other episodes, she's like, when people stay for like a week or so, do you feel like you have to do everything? I'm like, absolutely not. I got to live life. I got stuff to do. I'm moving around.
They live here now. Hell.
Right? You good.
And she said... But that's real though, especially thinking of like your background just in general with your husband being a professional athlete. It's like, dude, if I got to host another third, fourth, fifth cousin, and they damn near moving in, bye. 3 days, it's time to go. You ready for them to leave?
I'm sorry I didn't have a
No.
That's a great one. No, I don't. The politically correct is politically correct, but that one right there, your mama was 100% right. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Tiffany, if people want to get a hold of you, where do they find you?
So they can find me at Instagram, school.sense. So that's SCHOOL sense, SCENTS. And the website is www.schoolsense.com.
And I'll be sure to put all the links in our show notes.
Facebook is just School Sense, but I don't know how to use Facebook.
Girl, listen.
That wasn't our generation.
That's you good.
So the thing is, I had it, and then I didn't have it for 15 years because I'm dating myself because I'm older than both of y'all. But
barely.
So one, and you don't look like it,
right?
But Facebook is not our generation. It was our generation when it was back to you had to have a school email address to utilize.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that when they open up the floodgates, that wasn't ours no more.
Yeah. As soon as your parents get on there, you get off. That's the rule. All right, let me stop. Thank you so much for coming on, Tiffany. You are amazing. And thank you for being our first NBA wife. You are a gem. I adore you.
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. That is our show. For the latest on the Inside Lines podcast, make sure to follow us at Inside Lines Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook.
You can also listen online and share your favorite episodes at our website, which is insidelinespodcast.com. And if y'all don't know by now, we have a YouTube channel. That's right. Follow us at Inside Lines Podcast and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you get all the notifications when the new episode comes out.
Until next time, leave it all out on the field. Thanks for listening.